Hey everyone, so today's our topic is database GUI and based on that we have selected a project named address book. So my teammates are me, Priyanshu, Srisai Santosh and Aryan Shrivastava. So the database GUI is a software application which provides a visual interface for users to interact with the database. It allows users to perform various database operations such as creating, modifying, deleting, and querying data using a graphical interface rather than manually typing command. GUI often features menus, toolbars, icons, and other visual elements that enables users to perform complex operations with SA. They also provide an intuitive and user-friendly interface that make it easy for users to navigate and interact with database. Here we will talk about our programming paradigms. So GUI is an object-oriented programming paradigms, and in this project we are creating a database using SQL. Here SQL is a declarative programming paradigm, and the declarative programming and object-oriented programming are two different paradigms in software development with different approaches and characteristics. Declarative programming is a programming paradigm that emphasizes the what of a program rather than how. In declarative programming, the program specifies the desired outcome or a result of a program, and the language of the system used to write the program which takes care of the implementation details. Whereas the object oriented programming is a programming paradigm that emphasizes the use of objects and classes to represent the real world entities and relationship between them. SQL is a declarative programming language used for managing and querying database. While writing SQL queries, the programmer specifies the desired data to retrieve or manipulate, but not necessarily the steps to take to achieve the result. The packages which are imported are Tkinter and SQLite 3.
Hi guys, before we start explaining the code, I'll provide a basic overview of working of the code. So let's start. So this is our code. As we run our code, we will be able to see our address book like this. Now I'll show you how to enter the records in our database. So let's enter the record in our database. So here we have entered my data in the database. And to enter my data in the database, I have to click add record to the database. So I've clicked that button. And to see the data, which if I enter in the record, I'll click show records, which will show my record has been saved in number 1. So if I want to see my ID, I'll click on select ID, I'll enter 1, and I'll click on edit record, which will then show the data which I entered. Now let's see how to delete the record from the database. So to delete the record, I have to enter my ID and click on delete record. To see if the record is been deleted, I'll go on show record and I'll click on edit record, which will open a new address box with no data. This tells that the data which I entered previously has been deleted.
My name is Santosh and I'm gonna try and explain the code as briefly as possible. So firstly, we use import to import the libraries for tkinter and SQLite 3. Then we create a root widget titled address book of the following dimensions using the geometry function. And now we use SQLite3.connect to connect SQLite 3 to this database file that I've created called address book. Then we also create a cursor which helps us execute SQL commands in Python. So now we firstly use c.execute to create a table in the database of this following attributes. And then now we need to create the GUI for this particular application. We do that using the entry function, which creates the entry widgets here for all the variables. And then we use the label function to create the labels next to the entry widgets. And then we also use the button function to create the buttons which the user can interact with. So now for the functions, we use the submit function um, to add all the records that we've entered here to the database. So now we connect it to SQLi 3 and then we create the cursor. So now we use insert into function, which is an SQL command, to insert the values that the user has entered to these particular attributes that have been mentioned here. And then we use the get function to assign these values to this particular set of variables. Then we commit and close. Commit saves any values changed. And then closes the connection. And then we use this part of the code or the delete function to, let's just say I entered something here and then I add it to the database. This particular value disappears from here just for the convenience of the user. And then we use the query function here to show all the records that have been entered, like this. So firstly, you establish the connection and then you use the select function. OID here is the primary key that I have created. So select OID from addresses and then fetch all fetches all the records that that are that have been saved in the database. So now we print these records and then we commit and close. So to delete any particular any record that you want to, you use the delete function. You connect it to SQLi 3 and a database file, and then you use delete from addresses where OID or the primary key equal to delete box.get. So you are obtaining the value entered in this delete box. So this delete box is basically this particular entry widget that I've created here. So you get the values from this entry widget, and then the delete function is used to make it disappear once you click the button, and then you commit and close it. And now if you want to edit any of the values, let's just say I want to edit one, edit record, and then we've actually created a separate window for the editing, and then we've also done we've also created a function called edit. So we have to create all the labels and the entry widgets and the buttons for this particular window all over. So we use the same functions, entry, label, and button. So now c.execute select from addresses where OID, the primary key, is equal to record ID. So record ID is a variable that has been assigned the value of the OID that you've entered here in the delete box. So you use the same delete box for deleting and editing. So now I use this part of the code to make sure that whatever you typed in here, whatever like original values have been existing database, they show here. You commit and close, and then in order to save these values, once you click on save, you use the update function. So you use update addresses set, and then you assign these variables to these existing attributes, and then where OID equal to OID that has been entered here in the delete box entry widget, you use the get function to obtain those values, and then you commit and close, and then you destroy this particular window using the destroy function. Once you've saved the record, it closes. Thank you.